This next comedian actually hails from Northampton, Massachusetts. I think you're going to find him very funny. Let's give a huge round of applause for LaRoche.
This is my song. Zach Livingston, everybody. Welcome to Mass Laughs. I'd like to make it somber for a minute, if I may. Life is too short for bullshit, am I right? We're on this planet for such a short amount of time, and people get caught up in arguments and tussles and tosses that just aren't worth your time. I want you to look at the person next to you. You may never see them again. Do you know that? You may never see them again. Enjoy the time you have. Enjoy each other. Because we all human. Now I'm going to begin my set. Where the white women at? Where the white women at? Huh? Yeah! Where the Filipino woman at? Filipino women, you in here? Where Aborigine men at? As mentioned before, I am LaRoche. Before we get further into this, I feel like I should tell you something about myself so we can build up a repertoire. Rat-a-tat, if you will. I like to take erotic photographs of myself and deposit them into my bank account to stimulate the economy. One day it'll work. Just need to get that ratio between nipple and rose petal just right. Just once, I wish a cop would pull me over because they thought I looked cool. You know? Like, I wish a cop would pull me over, look at me and be like, son, you know why I pulled you over? Because you look like a rad dude. And I respect the heck out of you. Take my sunglasses. I love you. I'm going to tell you about my favorite cop interaction. I was driving in Northampton, and by driving I mean too drunk in the passenger seat of a car. My friend was actually driving, and I had nunchucks out in the open, and I didn't know nunchucks were illegal. How are you supposed to know that? And he pulled us over and he was like, son, did you know nunchucks are illegal? And I was like, no, I did not. And he confiscated my nunchucks. Like, I'm gonna go into the police headquarters with a pair of nunchucks and fuck everything up. I love the idea that there are people that pull heists with nunchucks. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of Northampton. Maybe rural China. As mentioned earlier, I'm born and raised in Northampton. I was actually conceived in New York, in Buffalo, New York. I was made there. So I'm a little mixed. I'm country and rock and roll together. But I do love Northampton. Northampton is the only place that makes arguments so potent, so fun. Do you remember when they tried to take the park benches away? That was so silly. They tried to take park benches away as a cure to homelessness. This'll trick you. This'll get you. Try being homeless without a park bench. How was that? Sure, guys. That's how homelessness works. I love that people think throwing at money Okay, I'm gonna start that over. I get sweaty easily. I'm sorry. I need to do this before I continue. I'm sorry. I'm back. I love it that people think you can throw monies at problems and they'll just go away. Like the animal wildlife federations that just ask for money to save cheetahs or some shit. Like dumping a bunch of money on cheetahs will make them live longer. I imagine all these forest rangers out in the wild just dumping money on random animals, wondering why it doesn't work. You're going extinct, pandas. Just take the 20K and get out of here. Get a plane, get a studio apartment and live your dreams. The craziest thing about pandas is the reason they're going extinct is because they don't want to buck. They don't want to fuck each other. So, you know, there are just some scientists that put pandas in tiny cages and look at them and they're like, fuck for me. They put on Sade and just watch them. It's like, fuck for me, panda. Light some candles, put some pasta out on the table. Hope a panda connection is made. That's not how love works. For all you lonely hearts out there, if you want to fall in love, just bring some magic with you. So it's already in there in the air. Just blow it out when you come into the club. That's all anybody wants is magic. I was a sign waver. If you don't know what a sign waver is, it's a person who dresses up in a costume and waves a sign. I was Lady Liberty for Liberty Tax Services. Thank you. I'm like a Marine. I'm like a Marine. Yes. My favorite day working there, it was a Saturday morning, and a guy in a Mario costume showed up out of nowhere. And he came up on our turf, and the guy I was working with looked at me, and he was like, oh, hell no, dude. Are you with me on this? And I was like, with you on what? We're gonna beat the shit out of Mario, bro! How dare he come up into our house, try to fuck with our shit? I'm not gonna catch a case for nobody, let alone taxes. But I did beat up that Mario with my coworker who used to sell crack cocaine. This economy ain't no fun, man. I think America needs to just huddle down and get together, really put our bearings in and just write. Everybody needs to write like 10 IOUs. We'll fix the deficit in a night. Just get 10 billion IOUs, send it to China and be like, hey, we'll get back to you when we can get back to you. We're busy. We have things to blow up. We are the Michael Bay of countries. If Ukraine really loved Crimea, they let it go. That's how you're supposed to love, man. Love ain't no joke. That's why I think the internet is evil. The internet makes it so much easier to just bust a nut and say you're in love with somebody. It's stupid, man. The internet is pure evil. Have you heard about this site, Kickstarter? Kickstarter is a site where you pledge money to things. People take your money and then they go live their fucking dreams. I need $5,000 to study dance. You don't need $5,000 to study dance. All you need is a boombox and a song in your heart. What happened to those days? The days of moxie and grit and human spirit. Man, there are people who have to choose between heating and food. That's real. That's real shit. $5,000 for dance ain't nothing. There was a guy yesterday on GoFundMe who was like, I need $2,000 to get on a Motorhead cruise. I need $2,000 to go on a cruise with the band Motorhead. This will fulfill my life dreams. Just like, you don't need that money. You don't need that money, dude. I would like to officially announce my Kickstarter for myself. It is give Aaron $10,000 so he can make a suit out of money. You can give it to me after the show. Whenever somebody says, who's your daddy? I can't help but wonder if that's them. And that's their really subtle way of telling me they're my father. It could happen. Do you guys remember being kids? You guys remember when we were the future? Being a kid, kids grow up way too fast these days, and that's the thing, but I think there's a difference between kids growing up way too fast and not being given the information that they need. Like this whole thing about trying to keep sex education out of schools is just bad news bears. Kids need to know that shit. You go around, ask any 10-year-old you know if they know what sex is, they'll probably be like, oh yeah, I know that. And the reason they need to know that is because believing in Santa won't get them pregnant, but not knowing what a condom is, well. Unless Santa drops different kinds of presents. Sex presents. I made that joke specifically to say sex presents. And I regret none of it. They say you're never too old to follow your dreams. I don't think that's true. I'll never be a child porn star. That ship has sailed. I'm a dark comic. I feel like that would have been good to know before I got on stage. But it's too late, we're here. I want to thank Zach Livingston for getting me on. I want to thank everybody for being here. It's a beautiful thing, you know. Laughter is good for your heart. It actually is. Indians proved it. Not Indians, but what is it? Buddhism proved it. It's true. Wait, who did? Some person from India proved that laughter is good for you. I don't know the specifics. I'm not a scientist. But it happened. So laugh a little easier, love a little harder, in the words of Marvin Gaye. I would like to leave you with this. Have you guys heard about this little thing we got in our country called rape culture? Rape culture ain't no fun. Ain't fun for nobody. The worst thing about rape culture, in my opinion, besides the act of rape, is the shame-giving aspect of it. Like when somebody's raped, instead of, going through the proper judicial system and trying to get the person who raped them in jail, it's sort of like, you were probably asking for it. Rape is the only crime where victim shaming happens. Like if somebody's you're working at a convenience store, you see some kids loitering on your wall, you call the cops get there, they're not gonna be like, oh, your wall was asking for it. You leave a red brick wall out in the open, expect degenerates not to lean against it? What are you, some kind of idiot? Your wall's a slut. Your car gets stolen, the cop isn't gonna show up and be like, oh, fucking Maserati, right? fucking gold Maserati. Didn't think nothing would happen, huh? Get a nice new decal, give it a paint job. Your car's a slut. Abortion. That's a segue. That was from my comics. But on the serious end, abortion, you know, it's one of those things where nobody really wants to talk about. I think people should talk about it. There's so many things happening that people don't want to talk about, and it's so boring. Why not talk about these things? Abortion, it doesn't get the press it deserves because they think of it as just people getting baby sucked out of them. But abortion really it's a matter of monetary, societal, and division issues. Some people can't get abortion because they ain't got the money. They gotta go in back alleys. And a lot of my guy friends are like, hey, what's the big deal about abortions? And I tell them, man, imagine you had to pay somebody to masturbate into a sock. Imagine you had to drive 4,000 miles just to bust a nut in a sock. Imagine you could go to jail for busting a nut in a sock. That's the big deal about abortion. I blew it up. I'm sorry, Zach. But thank you all for listening to me. Thanks a lot for having me. Let's just keep the show going. I'm Aaron LaRoche.
Aaron LaRoche, everyone, huh? Yeah! So it was crazy. The other day I drove 4,000